What did I do to you? What did I do to you today, huh? Nothing. People came over here to go back in your cage. All right? People came over here to go back in your
He's
cage.
ready to tee off. Let's see what happens
Yeah.
here with him.
They clean the room. You can't be out when they clean the room. You gotta put you back in the cage, and now you're all upset. Now you're so mad, huh? Oh, the mad boys, huh? The boys mad.
Okay, he's in a fairway bunker.
I
Let's see what
apologize. I
happens.
said I saw these. I saw these, all right? Weren't in there too long. It's your house. It's okay to be in there. All right? I love you.
And looking
So
short from the
mad.
sand on this one.
Oh,
And this one's about 130 yards away.
oh. Eso lucky. Okay. Who did the kid again? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you want the water?
Oh, yeah. That's going to do just nicely.
You guys want some waters?
And here we go. This is his second shot.
Go on, get down from there now. Go on. You can't be mad at me all the time now. You can't be mad at me all day. Huh? Alright, well, we found the fight. That's what nothing that you know.
Oh, he almost got that chip to go. And here's a look at his putt for par. I think this putt looks like it's going left to right. Oh, no, it's right better. And a 9-foot putt for him. This could be a birdie if you want to drop this in the hole.
I could go smaller. Yeah, I'd rather you do that than me break it. All right, you just want to sit back here real quick. I'll start.
And this putt is 4 feet.
They can't have that. It's open container in the car.
And after that one, you sit at 1 under par.
That's yours. Are you allowed to have alcohol in probation? Alcohol? What's it called? Alcohol and drugs? Or just
Teeing it up on the second hole of this matchup.
What are your...
A little bit to the right on the approach here. Well, you can't hit them all.
I'm going to give you a warning.
All right, let's see how he does.
Okay, but I'm going to take it, and it's going to be destroyed. Okay, I got a complete property receipt. You got to sign it and all that. Okay. But I don't know what your VO is going to do.
It looks a lot different. I started my degree in 1986, and 30 years later decided to complete my goals. The support system that you get with Purdue Global, just being in the military. You actually get assigned a person who will stay with you and walks you through step by step. Earning my degree with Purdue Global has given me the confidence to show me that I am not too old. I can do it. This is my comeback.
I don't know if they're going to be able to pay you for that, but you're going to get... In exchange for that, I am going to write you
a little less than pure on that swing.
That's the least. That's a...
they'll have it in evidence if they want it. I'm not doing that to you, okay? You're straight up cool with me. The biggest thing is you just didn't have a tag light. I'm out here looking for 900 and I see this. It was just, yeah. Alright, look, I gave you the warning. That's the reason for this stop. I gave you a warning for it. Get it fixed. Okay, that and the stuff you had on the top of your cars was the reason that I pulled you over. Sorry for keeping you out here so long, but I got to do what I got to do, alright? And the other stuff, I was making sure that wasn't cut. You can't cut any. Right. If you can't cut any or remove any shrubbery or anything from the yard. But y'all go ahead and crank your car, see if it'll fire up before I get out of here. Yeah, go ahead and see if it'll crank up before I split. You're good, y'all fellas. Alright. Y'all good? Alright, y'all take it easy now. We got to show the car, bro.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you to hold this out.
This
putt
get,
is gargantuan in scope. I'm going
you
to
gotta,
just
you,
make a humble request to nestle this one in there close.
We talk.
McCain take good skies. Together, take over.
you gotta get yourself educated. You know, there's nothing wrong with target practicing, but to killing something just to kill, there's a lot wrong to just killing just for the hell of it. You know.
And this one's for bogey. This is an uphill putt moving right to left.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen,
Flew right
girls?
by.
It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in
Will
with a
he make it? He's got a long putt, so could go either way. This one looks like it's breaking to the left. Ooh, right by. This putt's around 5 feet away. And he's looking to sink this one. This will be for bogey. This one's a short 3-foot putt. Okay, let's take a look at this next hole now. And you're 1 over par currently. Okay, Tiger Woods is on the tee. Let's see what happens. just snuck in here to the first cut of rough. Okay, let's send it. My goodness, got a hold of that one. All right, here he is in the first cut. Let's see how this goes. This might be bad. Let's see what his second shot looks like. Going with the 9-iron. Hitting into an elevated green, we might need more club.
Right? That's a big word for her.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, this is a doozy. This is not
Can I
a
throw one
putt
in?
this putt. Hopefully, you can get this close.
Yeah, how advanced is making a laughing career right now? Can anybody tell? Great. A good fucking person. You came at the wrong motherfucker. But let me tell you,
Well
secondly,
done, you got
this
most
is
of the way there.
defense, though, buddy. You're jumping the gun. Slow down. I want to.
He's got 12 feet to go here. And I think this one's breaking to the left.
I could have I've never taken more than a week. And half of my morning walk was a spirit.
All right, 8 feet to the cup. Oh, no. And now this from 5 feet. And there you have it. The putt drops and your round is over. And as we close the book on this round, it'll be 2 over par for you.
Another
And with that, I must leave you. We'll see you again real soon, though, hopefully, right?
No, we're gonna jump right in and do viewer matches today. Not gonna start.
So far, Putin has still not commented on
Yeah, damn.
Is that right? It's like everything on point. That's not right.
Shub Knight, speaking from prison about
Guys, welcome to the show. This is the first ever Jeremy's House podcast edition. So if you're going to have a guest on the show, might as well be the most coolest guy that's ever lived. Aside from Joe McHale. Shout out to Joe McHale, but double shout out. All right.
Maybe it's just your lack.
This is the man who police say has sick, sexual, twisted conversations with a 15-year-old girl who went missing.
It's like chicken fangs to me.
And the farm is now just
I don't remember actually being sat down and being told.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
My name is Rod. I live in the greater Vancouver area of British Columbia. I have two amazing children with my wife Danielle. Make sure the kids are fed and bathed, do the laundry, all the housework, and hold up full-time employment.
My children, my husband, to the holidays, make me happy. So it's something. I am addicted to.
After touring a handful of upscale
Well, you had some thoughts about the whole JK case. You said, my main point of wanting to do this.
The Joe Rogan experience.
And then there's the and then the moon's weird too. The moon's super weird. The size of the moon directly corresponding, like when.
We're talking about
FG Famous was popping off in the rap game with his homie Jay the Youngest, but after Jay was brutally.
You can spin the narrative all they want. We won't be making our entire show about it because it's a nothing burger. It's complete nothing burger. It's sarcastic nonsense on their show. I always thought they were the show that like to collect all the facts and evidence and bring it together, but they didn't. Because if they did, they would have looked at a lot of Death of Ted Hart, where I couldn't get steamrolled because it was on our show, so we were allowed to actually vocalize and convert, and you'd be able to find out the whole subject matter and everything was growing up and the actual reasoning and justification.
Ran out of steam. You hear the call, the leaves rustling, birds singing. You hear sand shifting, rocks scattering. You hear just like Harvey Firestone did. Who ran out of steam years ago when it came to their stand-up act, yet carry on like they're the second coming of Norm Macdonald and Patrice O'Neill. It reminds me of Dane Cook. He became so good at self-promotion and used social media in the early days to get his name out there, but eventually people started asking themselves why they're still laughing. Even Rogan still brags about how he stopped touring years ago when his comedy mothership was built, and we've all seen the results in Burn the Boats. As for Bert though, it's good to see that audiences are finally coming to their senses and giving him the reaction that he deserves. Man, I would have loved to be in Hawaii for this. And just to clarify, because they had to censor it, he opened with a joke in Hawaii about their women being SA'd by James Cook's fleet in the late 18th century.
The people in Hawaii will watch my open James Cook.
And that was what's the name of it?
You know, when I think about James Cook, I was like, not huge fans of their time. I think they pull up the line, you know, James Cook. You know, the rest of it. Okay.
Hello
James
there,
Cook's like,
and welcome to PGA Tour 2K25. I think things are going to go our way today. We are here to have a bit of quick fun with just 3 holes in this contest. Stroke play are the rules. Hopefully you can go low today. This is going to get a little gritty here in the sand. And he's ready to tee off here. Let's see how this goes.
What? There's a couple women. So now they have syphilis. We might as well just hope. That's what I opened with in Hawaii.
Comedians can read a room.
And they were like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's so funny that, like, that I just thought, when I heard that story, I thought it made me giggle. They didn't like it.
I think
let's let her fly. Let's go.
Comedians are at the top of the food chain because you don't have a mask. You just have the read of the room, and the material has to be really funny.
End of the week, you know, it's you get the rough off yourself. I opened my first joke Thursday with that, and then
I'm liking that
by
one.
the end of the week, I was like James Cook, and they're like, yeah.
You could just, by talking, this theater filled with people were just falling down laughing. They're just blown away.
Okay, let's see if we can get this out of here.
You know, you want to know the crazy thing about James Cook? He couldn't swim.
Seriously?
He couldn't swim.
He's out
navigating the world. And apparently, that was a tactic. Keep your sailors, like you didn't want sailors who could swim. You wanted sailors who couldn't swim because then they really gave about no one abandoned the boat.
What a crazy power to have. Like, what an unbelievable thing to be able to do with just your words.
And so, he tried to take someone hostage, and then they chased him in the water, bludgeoned him to death, and he couldn't get to the boat. He couldn't swim to the boat. That's how he died? Yeah.
Geez, but that all sounds like A-grade stand-up material right there.
Glad
it worked out for you. Sounds like our boy's been watching Shane Gillis's stand-up specials and tried to work in some history into his sets. Maybe leave the historical stuff to Shane, but stick to sharing private stories about your wife and daughters. Your fans seem to eat that up for some reason.
What is power? Maybe the better question is, how much of it can you handle? In the GMC Sierra EV Denali.
Oh man, you almost got that chip to go.
Professional grade.
This next putt
we
is
built this
for the
in
bird.
November
Let's see how
2023
he
is when
does.
we moved in. And I take my kids here all the time.
Go right to left.
Yeah, 3 of them.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You guys are good at keeping secrets.
I don't put them online.
Oh, you don't do the specials and talk about their periods?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Now
They go to college and some guy walks up to her at a party and goes, I'm going to famous right out of you. Yeah. You kid, I know who you are, I'll find you.
So is that?
Yeah, no chance that story actually happened. Isn't it strange that since his daughters have moved away to college, his stand-up comedy material has dried up? Must just be a coincidence, I guess.
And speaking of dried up, Bert's completely delusional when it comes to his effect on women.
Starting things
For
off
someone who
under
claims to have
par,
never cheated on
that
his wife,
is what I like
he
to
sure
see.
does love to bring it up every single opportunity he's ever had to do it. For
And a
some reason,
5-foot
Bert's
putt for
wealth
him.
and fame have led him to believe that he's in the same league as George Clooney and Brad Pitt. You know, those celebrity silver foxes who women love even though they're getting older. According to Bert, women fade with age, but he just keeps on getting better. The silence from Tom was deafening.
Can I tell you what sucks for women is that they fade.
Just
like watching Superman get locked out of his house.
women specifically fade?
Yeah.
What about guys?
Oh, you get better. I told this to Leanne. We're taking a walk. You know, I'm famous, but I noticed people looking at me, like when we were walking. Young girls saw me and then they giggled, and then they were like, "Oh my god!" And then they came ran over.
All
and they're
right,
like,
let's
"Are you?"
send
like, yeah.
this
like, oh my
ball.
god! Not a lot of young boys are doing that to Leanne. And I said to Leanne, I said, it's kind of crazy. Like, it is inevitable with women it fades, and with men, we kind of our stock increases, especially if you make money and you're, you know, look gray, look sexy, and you know, I got jocked by these young girls in Hawaii. It was right when Leanne left. Leanne left, and I was only leaving 2 hours after her. I went down to the beach. I had a cocktail, and these girls came out and wanted to talk to me. And they're like, "Are you here by yourself?" And I was like, "Oh, my wife just left. Like, you should come with us." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm leaving in an hour." And they're like, "Oh, okay." And then I was like, "It's just so odd." No, folks. It's so odd that like
This one looks pretty safe.
it's inevitable.
Looks like you got a favorable
Right.
bounce on the downslope. This could
Pursuit,
run.
right? So like,
Well done.
guys pursue women. Like your DNA is
All right, let's
seeking
see how
out
he does here
the
on this hole.
youngest, most viable, you know, reproduction person too. And so like, you actually have a signal in your head that sees somebody that's older and goes, "This is not a reproductive
Off the
person."
downslope. Watch
You know what I mean?
this one
That's
run.
so funny, Tom, because that's exactly how I feel when I look at you and Bert. When it comes to
And
Bert's
he'll
story,
set up
most
from
of us have built a
240
pretty
yards
strong
out.
bullshit detector over the years. This is what probably happened. Leanne left early, Bert had a couple of hours to kill, so he went down to the bar, made a big scene, explained to everyone that he's a famous comedian, pulled out his phone and Googled his name to show everyone, and then when a group of girls figured out he had money, they asked him to buy them drinks. Bert sitting in that chair, looking like a diabetes mascot, explaining to Tom that women fade but successful men like him keep getting sexier, is actually crazy. As usual, though, it got worse.
I almost envy ugly chicks because they never had it.
Right. Yeah.
Like, what's better? To have it and lose it, or to never have it and never know what it was?
Did you ever like do like a, you know, like a charity?
And now he's looking at 200 yards or so to the pin.
I only I'm only had for 6 chicks.
Right, but was one of them? Did you ever go like,
no,
"Hey, you're
never.
not that attractive"? You had to say you're like,
No, I
you
fell in love with all of them. I was like, I said I love you to all of them. Even the one night stand, I said I love you. And she was like, what? I'm broken. I'm the reason. That's the reason the internet hates me at times, is because I've said everything. I'm just broken. I'm sorry. I only people I love. Oh, yeah. I never even made out with an ugly chick, I don't think.
Really?
I don't think so.
Bert, you're the ugly chick. At least he's starting to realize why he's got so many haters. The shit that comes out of his mouth is wild. But that's not why people hate you, Bert. Theo Von and Tim Dillon say crazy shit all the time, and they've got big loyal fan bases who tune into their podcast and show them nothing but love. People hate you because the wild things you say are delusional, arrogant, and annoying.
Well judged on that
you really
one.
should give him credit for finally
Right, if he wants to
realizing
save
his
par,
stand-up
he's got to
comedy
drop this
sucks.
on in there.
Now that Brendan Schaub and Tom Segura have retired, and Bert's on his way too, the Rogan 6 never-been-funny comedians are slowly moving from the endangered list to the extinct one. But what would I know? I'm just some mentally ill guy on the internet. Anyway, make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on all my uploads throughout the week. As always, shout out to all of you who came over from my main channel and subscribed. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, so it's not Brent Krishner, it's Bert Kreischer. Do you know how often my name is mispronounced?
Well, I have a collection
This putt
of
is insanely
videos in the
long.
folder
I kind of feel bad for the guy, really.
That's what you're wondering.
This one looks like it's moving a bit to the right here. Oh my goodness. And this putt will be for his par.
Dogman is streaming exclusively on Peacock.
All right, here's his
Because
look at
Peacock is the home of Dogman.
Why?
Because that's the only place you can stream it.
Why?
Because it's the only place with all of this.
And now this from 4 feet.
You know what? I think one of the things that really you were hot, but
Okay, come on now.
Pretty hot. Oh my
This
God.
to save
You
your
were
par.
so hot. Dude, when I saw you naked, I cried. And I looked up at God and I'm thinking.
All right, nicely hold.
You're
Let's
actually
move to the
okay.
next.
Your making out needs work.
I thought it was pretty good.
I just don't want to, like, talk about that.
Oh, right, let's move on. Anyway, let's move on.
The most toxic relationship in podcasting just got worse. Out of all the dramas that Bobby Lee has been involved in, his breakup with Kalila Coon ranks near the top. This story has everything from betrayal to threats to blackmail, even escalating to the point that Joe Rogan had to get involved. But just when you thought things had died down over the last 12 months, overnight things escalated quickly. Kalila is making a comeback to Tiger Belly and almost everyone is unhappy about it. It's actually insane. I've never seen a backlash like this before. And I make videos about Burt Kreischer, Tom Segura, and Andrew Schultz. This is different though. This is reaching Brendan Schaub levels of hate. And ironically, Brendan Schaub actually has a lot to do with this. Honestly, this shit writes itself. See, the Tiger Belly podcast was actually Kalila's brainchild. When she met Bobby Lee over a decade ago, he wasn't who he is now. He was a broke comedian doing Hollywood gigs and stand-up shows, but hadn't really broken through yet. According to Kalila, she saw the potential in Bobby and started the Tiger Belly podcast as a joint venture 10 years ago. They were one of the early comedy podcasts and subsequently grew it into what you see today, with over 500 episodes and nearly 1 million subscribers on YouTube. However, in the second half of last year, Kalila took time off from the podcast to deal with some health issues. Some have speculated that she had a secret pregnancy that she wanted to keep out of the spotlight, which I haven't been able to verify, or she was dealing with mental health issues around all the hate she received off of the back of her breakup with Bobby Lee and the subsequent Brendan Schaub situation in 2022. Whatever the reason, she came back for a couple of episodes here and there over Christmas and the New Year, but then she took another long break, making her first appearance on the show in months yesterday. And like I said, I've never seen anything like this before. It got so bad that the producers had to start deleting comments, but then things got so out of hand that there was nothing they could do about it. Holy cow, with all these comments disappearing and the amount of similar comments, the team will be busy hitting delete for the next few days.
As he sets up, he's got about
destroying this show
180
and
yards to
losing
go
listeners
here.
in droves just to simp is wild. Bobby, buy her out. If you need to GoFundMe for the buyout, trust me, we would support it. If the team or anyone actually cares about Bobby's mental health, they would give him some advice on not having her on anymore. Clearly, they are there just for his money. Kinda tired of them forcing their dysfunctional dynamic on the fans. It's time to move on, guys. It adds literally nothing to the show but awkwardness. If she comes back permanently, I can guarantee myself and many others won't be back. Reading the comments, I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. Like I was saying, there are hundreds and hundreds of comments saying things along the same lines. By the way, quick shout out to all of you from my main channel, Podcast Cringe, for coming over here and subscribing to my new channel. I appreciate your support, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on my uploads throughout the week. And so if you're new to this whole situation, it all goes back to 2022 when Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen tried to blackmail Bobby and Kalila, threatening to go public with their breakup if Bobby didn't get Kalila and her friends to stop telling stories about Brendan Schaub being a sleazebag. This forced Bobby to come out and tell everyone the truth.
I could see myself out of the relationship in terms of, like, giving her what she needs. You know, women, they need cuddles, they need attention, they need intimacy, they need all the, and I was not giving her anything. I was just playing video games and like watching all day, you know what I mean? And she would say, every day, she would cry and it'd be like, what about me? What's going on? And I don't know.
And if he drops this, it'll save par.
Some sort of excuse, you know, and in the last 2 or 3 years, we had sex maybe twice. What? Yeah. She's getting a lot of things on the internet, you know what I mean? And I have to take 95% of the blame, really, I think, you know? I really believe it.
That's about
So
5
there are a
feet.
number of reasons why Kalila copped a massive backlash during that period, which has continued over the last couple of years. And like I just showed you earlier,
Almost had the
it
birdie
escalated
there.
overnight. For me personally, there's one reason in particular that got under my skin and turned me against her, which I'll go into more detail towards the end of this video, so stick around for that. And yes, it involves your boy Brendan Schaub. Man, making this video made me rediscover how much of an absolute asshole that guy is. Anyway, the thing is, Bobby's always been quite open about his own issues. Like you saw in that clip there, he's admitted to having intimacy problems and just social problems in general, which is partly what makes him so funny, right? But at the same time, it was clear that most people were on Bobby's side, and we're just happy to see him
Finishing
single
your
and
round
free
with
again.
the tap. This one's over, and you wound up the winner. Great work. And that's going to do it for me. My job's done. Hopefully, we'll see you again around here real soon, though.
Get 2.9% APR for 60 months on a 2025 Cadillac Lyric.
Good dude. You're happy to see him happy.
Me too.
I bet.
Hell yeah.
Sure. It's like girls want. Take it up. We'll have the left off. Let me show you the next level. Now they also realize they get famous with body with girlfriend. It's probably a lot of those things. That's dangerous. So it's got to duck them. You got to know which one's a sociopath. You know, which one's pretending they like you. And which one just really likes funny guy.
And that was one of the other reasons many people turned on her. They felt that she had exploited Bobby's talents while he was vulnerable and roped him into a partnership on the Tiger Belly podcast so that she could profit from his rise to fame. But I'll come back to that in a moment because from the get-go, in the latest episode of the show that she'd been absent from for so long, literally her first words were putting Bobby down, and their viewers weren't happy about it.
Saw our family doctor, how was your day?
Yeah.
And he was like, how's Bobby doing? And I was like, he's a skinny mini, and he unfortunately agreed with Alex. You cannot be on the Ozempic without eating protein.
Oh, that's so
working out.
unfortunate.
He was like, I'm gonna tell us.
Sorry, Dr. Alex.
I mean,
Because you're just wasting away until like, come on.
She obviously didn't realize that there would be so much hate for her in this episode because when she came back for the Christmas special around 5 months ago, the reception wasn't nearly as bad as this. So she walked right into that one by starting off by shitting on Bobby like that. But it seems like everyone else missed the memo too. Instead of just getting on with the interview and bringing Ari Matty into the studio, their co-hosts thought they'd stir things up again. This was all on the first few minutes of the podcast.
I feel about like hooking up with both.
Yeah, they were friends. Yeah.
Why do you keep looking out? Me or him? You.
Or are you still with your
Wait. I'll be right back.
like in the back too?
You guys ever dream about each other?
Hey, guys, that's a good question. Go ahead, be honest.
Be honest.
Be honest.
Yeah.
I think this. Okay.
Not in like a sexual
No,
way.
but like what life would have been.
Oh.
Maybe I can
Oh, what are you doing? Oh my God.
And so after the Estonian assassin came in and saved the day, things looked like they were turning up again, but it didn't take long for it to go pear-shaped. Here's the thing, not all the hate was directed just at Kalila. I think Bobby has a lot to answer for here as well because people are sick of hearing about their relationship and even just the toxic dynamic between the two of them on screen. Their relationship was so loaded and their breakup became so public thanks to Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen that even the most innocent little digs and banter between them now is surrounded by a toxic undertone. And after so many months of being without Kalila and not having to see their skeletons on display, in one episode, it all came flooding back.
Sorry, why do you think?
I would rather eat them. Yeah, me too. Me too. I've literally eaten chicken is jacked off. Yeah. I love it. Because there's also no pressure. It doesn't to be hard.
Okay. You're okay. You're actually okay. You're making out needs work. But I think
stop. Please,
I hear you're better.
PGA Tour 2K25. This is gonna get good. We've got just 3 holes of matchmaking today in this stroke play affair. Time to get amongst it.
What means slow and passionate and sensual?
I've gotten better.
Starting this one out to the right.
Yeah. What?
And let's see how this hole
And you
goes
said that was
down for
okay
him.
going down.
No, you're good. You're good.
I thought I was pretty good.
But I just don't want to talk about that.
Oh, right. Let's move on. Anyway, let's move on. You know what? I think one of the things that really you were hot, but what
Ari, I'm not anymore. I have a face paralysis.
Yeah, you can't notice, but
That's why you were hot.
I remember we were when you were living in Long Beach.
I used to be hot. Oh my God, I was so hot.
You were so hot.
Yeah.
See what he has.
When I saw you naked, I cried and looked up at God and go, "Thank you."
I was really hot.
Yeah. You're hot now, but I remember we were in bed together, and you remember what?
I mean, Gilbert hates this.
Like I was saying, it's not just Kalila. Bobby clearly hasn't let go of their relationship, even though by his own admission, he wasn't able to give her what she wanted. It seems like he's torturing himself because he's too afraid to let go of her. And the flip side is, people think that Kalila was cheating on Bobby for years because he refused to be intimate with her, but kept things going with him so she could keep raking in ad money from the Tiger Belly podcast. And obviously, now that they've been broken up for 3 years, everyone's still wondering why they haven't just broken things off officially, and Bobby bought out her stake in the podcast so she can sail off into the sunset. It's pretty obvious that Bobby's the heart and soul of the show. All those episodes without Kalila over the last 12 months have been doing fine in terms of numbers, but obviously if it were the other way around, the whole show would take a nosedive. But I said at the beginning that there was one specific reason why I turned off Kalila. And I don't know if it's just where I'm from or how I was brought up, but this was the biggest red flag for me throughout their whole breakup. See if you can pick it up too.
Belly?
From meeting for coffee?
Megan, I love you.
To meeting the family.
You got to remember too, Rogan's like an older brother to me. When I do anything, I call Rogan. That's how I operate.
Right.
Yeah. I asked his advice on this, right? And then, he'd give me his advice how I should handle it.
When you did tell Rogan your version of events, I just want to know, for my own peace of mind, did he believe it?
All right, setting up
I don't know.
33 feet.
To him, it's like, you're never going to be
breaking to
dinner.
the left?
I mean,
No, regarding me and Bobby.
no, because I told him it's not either.
Okay, but everything else regarding the information that got to me that you told Rogan statement.
Oh, look at this thing. Still going good. Oh my goodness, it doesn't go.
If you never saw that
And this
episode
is
of
his
Tiger
look
Belly from
at
2022,
birdie.
the background is
I
that
think this
Brendan
one's going
Shaw
left
was
to right.
conned into believing that Bobby Lee was one of the masterminds behind the Fighter and the Kids subreddit. And Brendan had 300 pages of supposed evidence that showed an IP address linked to Bobby's home address, which was responsible for a bunch of posts on there. To this day, not a shred of evidence has seen the light of day, so clearly it was all bullshit. But Kalila and a couple of her friends had also been talking shit about Brendan on the Trash Tuesday podcast. This was the one where Annie Letterman told the story about an unfunny comedian who tried to get her to walk in to his truck. For obvious reasons, she was talking about Brendan Shaw. And so Brendan and Brian got on the phone with Bobby and physically threatened him if he wasn't able to shut Kalila up and get her to correct the record and stop talking shit about him, etc. They also sent text messages to Bobby claiming to have evidence that he's behind the subreddit. And so to clear the air and hash things out, Kalila invited Brendan on the Tiger Belly podcast, and it didn't take long for her to show her true colours. It was never about protecting and defending Bobby. Her main concern was what people thought about her and the damage to her reputation. In particular, she seemed fixated on what Brendan had said to Joe Rogan and what Rogan thought about her after everything had gone down. By the way, I forgot to mention, Brendan and Brian also threatened to go public with Bobby and Kalila's breakup because at the time they hadn't told their viewers about it. In my opinion, Bobby Lee was the victim in all of this, and even though Kalila was involved and things were being said about her as well, no one seemed to care that Bobby was physically threatened and effectively blackmailed by one of the biggest bullies on the internet. She just wanted to know what Joe Rogan thought. That's why I think Bobby needed to draw the line in the sand years ago and move on from her. She's clearly just an opportunistic social climber who used Bobby Lee to get rich and famous, and now that she's moved on, she can't seem to let go. And same goes for Bobby. This whole thing is just so fucking toxic. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how they address the crazy backlash against Kalila. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any updates, as well as all of my uploads throughout the week. As always, shout out to all of you who came over from my main channel and subscribed. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we can wrap this up.
No, I don't want to wrap this up. I love it.
We got to wrap it up soon. We're going to 2 hours and 40 minutes.
I don't want to go anywhere. This is awesome. If you would, by the way, congratulations.
Let's see it.
They say you shouldn't meet your heroes, and for Guy Fieri, he learnt that the hard way. It wasn't some chance encounter with Joe Rogan in one of his restaurants, or an introduction through a mutual friend at a celebrity party. This happened in the worst way possible, on a 2.5-hour podcast recorded for everyone to see. We've seen Rogan navigate boring guests before. Some have even been aggressive, like Egyptian pyramid gatekeeper Zahi Hawass, and some have even been straight up manipulative, like Persian rug salesman Patrick Bet-David. But this time, the problem was Joe himself. See, our boy Rogan's undergoing a bit of a transformation at the moment.
Good one.
If you haven't heard, he's quit drinking and started going to church on Sundays. And now that all THC products have been banned in Texas, it's looking like Rogan's going to be stuck with sucking on nicotine pouches and popping Alpha Brain pills to get that edge. That reminds me, I wonder what's happening with the Alpha Brain lawsuit. Let me get back to you on that one. By the way, quick shout out to all of you from my main channel, Podcast Cringe, for